Okay, hi there. Welcome back to another quick video. I generally don't make this kind of videos. I tend to use this kind of points or have this kind of points in my thought updates kind of video, but I thought to talk about this because, as you know, the optimization thing, I have already talked about this to like 7-8 people at least, and I don't want to repeat this thing again to anyone else. And also I think I have articulated it good enough through this multiple talks that I can just make a video about it. And above all of this, I also think that this will be useful to anyone else who just find out about me randomly and doesn't want to talk to me. There are a lot of people like this. A lot of philosophers and people have tried to tackle this kind of title and video. The first one comes from the WhatsApp status that I have at this moment regarding the purpose of life, in a way that is based more on the classical philosophical theories, and the one that I am going to talk about in the further video is something that I have formulated recently talking to people and a more practical thing. You can see the screenshot of my WhatsApp status at this moment. It is basically absurd enough to be beautiful or beautiful enough to be absurd. The basic requirement understanding is of absurdism, existentialism and nihilism. To just give a very quick brief, nihilism is about life doesn't have a meaning. Absurdism is about, wow, life doesn't have a meaning, let us enjoy that, or let's just live with that, do whatever you have to do. And existentialism is about choosing a meaning by your own, or finding the purpose of your life by your own, in a way. You can go and read about it on ChatGPT, or watch a video. Friedrich Nietzsche, Albert Camus and Paul Sartre, they will be the good ones I think who can talk about this topic. I came to this question of the meaning of life twice till now in my life. The first time I came to this was in class 11th, or the ending of 11th, you can say, after I had severe 6 months of bedridden time due to a genetic illness that I have. I was having a lot of questions. I made my FD and I also came across this question of the meaning of life, and then I figured out one answer that I eventually wrote in my FD and other things, but eventually it failed out. In a way, it is not failed out, but it needs revision. I made another definition that is currently the reasoning or all the thoughts I have regarding this. The quotation is absurd enough to be beautiful or beautiful enough to be absurd. I generally change these things depending upon the kind of mood I am in, if you want to use that word, but not really. Okay, so talking about the first, absurd enough to be beautiful. Here you can change the word beautiful with the beautiful in the sense of existentialism. So absurd enough to be existential, or existential enough to be absurd, if you want to use that word. In a way, you can distill it down with determinism and free will. But everything I think can be distilled down to free will and determinism questions if you want. Like, this is how philosophy works. You can distill down everything to in anything if you want. Absurd enough to be beautiful, as in the meaning of life or the whole purpose of life is so absurd in itself that it becomes beautiful. That it is absurd enough that it becomes beautiful, as in if you want to go with the ritual story that we have, that Sisyphus and all. So the fact that you should imagine Sisyphus smiling or happy is the fact that it is beautiful, due to which Sisyphus is smiling. And the absurdism that life have is beautiful. So the life is absurd enough to be beautiful. And the second one, beautiful enough to be absurd, the fact that everyone can have their own will and they can decide their purpose of life and meaning of life based on their will. That's such a beautiful thing, and it is such a dynamic thing that it becomes beautiful, that everyone can decide on their own and they can have their own meaning of life in a way. So it is so beautiful that it becomes absurd, that why it is so beautiful and why can everyone have their own philosophical or groundings of the life. Like, purpose is a very big grounding. If you see my WhatsApp picture as well along with this quotation that I have, then it kind of talks about this. At least from my perspective, this is what I thought and put there. The person in the middle is representing absurdism or existentialism, depending upon which statement you are going through. So the person in the middle is absurdism and everything around is so beautiful, so absurd enough to be beautiful. Or the person around in the center is working with existentialism and everything around him is absurdism. So yeah, this is what the picture is about. I don't know why I'm explaining this. So existentialism is too absurd for me and absurdism is too beautiful for me. That's what I want to say in a way. Or existentialism is too absurd and absurdism is too existential, if you want to call that. Yeah, but generally getting a paradoxical reasoning of philosophies is not a good solution. But for me that works, and based on the other theories that I'm going to talk about, it is a good enough mixture for me to just go on with life. This video will make tremendous amount of sense if you watch it along with the emotion, logic, mass equilibrium video, because again I have emotion and logic here in the proper sense. If you watch that video and understand which kind of segments touch with which kind of emotion and logic segment, then it will be very grateful and useful for you. Starting with the thing that I have, you can see on the image, I have another project P3, don't confuse with that. So starting with the first thing, that is purpose, but that's not the starting, that's some kind of ambiguous thing that I have done, but I will tell you why I have made it like this. So I would like to start with Pyaar thing. Well, given it's a circle, so circle doesn't have a start, but I would like to start with it with a Pyaar thing. And if you just put it in ChatGPT and just get a description of it, that is on your screen again. If you want, you can pause and read. Then ChatGPT has done a phenomenal job of explaining this thing very properly. But yeah, Pyaar basically means love. I think that would be the starting point, because I feel like every human is innately capable of love, or knows what love is, the conscience part, if you want to call in that angle. We don't have to do a lot of work to experience that or to gain that, both a realization of love, what love is. So everyone has love, so I would like to start with that. So based on your love, you introspect, realize and criticize yourself, the love that you have about things and all, and based on those things you do philosophization. That is basically using both logic and emotions in a balanced way to kind of understand yourself, if you want to call it. You can, again, introspection is something I've already written, but gaining more knowledge about yourself, self-knowledge in a way. And based on this philosophization, you can form your principles, rule book of your life, the thing on which you base your life on, dharma, if you want to call that. The thing that defines you, that is like a fundamental grounding for you. Based on those principles, you should contemplate and more, that is realization, formulation and actual articulation, that is become more rigorous with the principles that you have got, focusing majorly on the logical part of the things. And then based on those things you can define a purpose for you, you can find an intersection for you, and then that purpose will give you serenity, basically a calmness, sense in your life. They will give meaning for your life, and that meaning, when mixed with compassion and detachment, you have to get detached from your thing and see it as a bigger picture, and mixed with awareness of the thing, you get to love. And this is a reinforcing loop. ChatGPT has done a way better job than me explaining this thing properly. So well, I had all those explanations in my mind, but ChatGPT did the great job of making it all in a form that is more understandable to humans. So I'll obviously put that here. So the whole point is, this thing has worked phenomenally for me, and I just wanted to share it with everyone else, so in hope that it works for everyone else as well. Surely there are a lot of underlying theories and concepts that I'm missing on, and you can fit a lot of other smaller elements in between all of these major three players in the game, in the chart, major three elements. But this is the best conversation that I have done. You can also see this as some kind of existentialism theory or ikigai kind of thing, that your own defining your own purpose based on your own love or based on your own principles. But if you want to have a proper look at it, you can also see as some kind of absurdism, because after you find a point, or when you go through the loop the second time, then it will be more of an absurdism kind of thing after you have the realization. So if you start with Pyaar thing directly and then move on the circle, then it is more of an existentialism thing. But if you start from the purpose thing and then you move around the circle, then it is more of an absurdism thing. So yeah, and again, if you just start from different points and just look at this circle from different angles, then you will find different kind of theories. So you can see it in a kind of inverse way as well. So if you are more of a nihilistic kind of person, then you should start with the principal things, then you can go around the circle and have the complete understanding of it. If you are more of an absurdist kind of person, then you can start with the serenity thing, that kind of I started with. And if you are more of a existentialist person, then you can start with the love thing and from the circle down. And yeah, I think this will work out for you. Again, there are a lot of intricacies of things that I myself might not be aware of this, because this is more of an intuitive thing that I've done. A lot of things that I do in the philosophy segments are based on my intuition. So after a while I realized how they can be useful in a lot of other ways. So yeah, you can just have your own understandings of this and interpretations of this. And as with a lot of other elements and projects, and if you want, you can divide these things in doublets and quadruplets and triplets and make your own things. But if you want to look at it from a theory and practical point of view, then you can also go through as serenity, Pyaar and philosophization are more of a theory kind of thing, are more of a dharma kind of thing, in which you have to sit down and do internal work. And principles, contemplation and purpose are more of a karma kind of thing, in which you have to do actions and take actions and do things after, again, you have gone to the first part. So dharma and karma obviously balanced, and in this also you can, obviously it's not an exact cut. If you have, you can go a bit more of karma into the serenity, and you can go a bit more of dharma in principles. But again, just a rough cut. You can do all those kind of maths and computation and combinatorics thing with this thing as well if you want. And again, I would like you to put more thought on this and just get meaning from this by your own as well, not just from me. I don't know where did I actually start myself. Was it Pyaar, was it principles, or was it purpose? I think there is no proper start, but it was somewhere in between of purpose and Pyaar, serenity kind of thing. I was having that kind of calmness in myself or compassion in myself, based on which I started things. And once you experience that Pyaar, that awareness, I think the starting point is awareness. And after that, I guess I just developed Pyaar, and then I did this, follow this loop, so it worked out great for me. And based on this compassion thing that I had for the world and all, I developed them to form some kind of principles for me, principles were basically my rule book that you are already aware of, and except for that, with respect to specific professionalism segment, the myspy segment, I articulated them in a way that they could become some kind of Venn diagram circles that is just easy for me to visualize and work with. And after making a lot of Venn diagram circles, I found the intersection point. Where does this thing intersect and what does that thing do? So initially I changed a lot of fields. If you want to say, I changed a lot of purposes of my life. Initially I was in computer science from engineering point of view. Then I went to physics. I did some kind of YouTube thing and all. I did a lot of things, and finally I settled down this to philosophy and computer science field. And majorly because of, again, these are my principles to utilize wisdom and all. You can again see that on your screen. And I just wanted to utilize all of that. And since I figured out my principles, and when I got the intersection point of my principles, I found the purpose that I have, and then I started working on that. I did not know for a very long time that what I'm working on is actually something viable or not. I thought, okay, I was just working on it. Then I got to know that it is called AI safety, it is called AI alignment and all that. Initially I was just working on artificial consciousness. So again, first I worked on something, I found my purpose, and then I got to know what this purpose is called, or how I can convert my passion into profession. Again, top-down approach, whatever I call it. But yeah, this is what has worked for me. Given the fact that how impressed I am with current LLMs, I would not take any specific names. I would also make some kind of article from this talk or from this post and all, and I would attach it to the links or bio description of this video if you can go and check it out there. Probably I'll make another video on this segment after getting some more questions and more topics on this and articulating them more, so that I can address more things very properly. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and liked it, and you get some use out of it. I don't know if you will. Well, that's it for now. Have a good day. Bye. Enjoy. Take care. I hope the recording is started now, and the lighting is good and everything else is good. The background is quite interesting. I hope the voice is coming good and nice, and I hope the shadow doesn't come on my face that is here right now. I have done my mathematics and physics, but I know I'm not very good at it, and I assume that I will be wrong. So anyhow, let us start the recording.